If you master just these 10 topics, then you can score 90 and above in the chemistry UTME. And this is no joke at all. Now, the problem is a lot of students study very hard, but they end up scoring below expectation. This is because they only study hard and refuse to study smart. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you 10 important topics that you should focus on to score a 90 plus in the chemistry UTME examination. So if you are sitting for the Jamb examination, this video is for you. Sit back and let's get started. Hello, once again, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Daniel. I am an academic tutor and also a medical student at the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, or probably you are yet to subscribe to this YouTube channel, I urge you to click the subscription button, click the notification bell, so that you can be notified whenever we drop videos of this kind that can be beneficial to you. So like I said, in this video, I'll be talking about the 10 important topics that you can study in chemistry to get a 90 plus in the chemistry Jamb examination. This thing works like magic. You don't really have to cover the whole syllabus like I usually tell my students, but if only you can study the right set of topics, then you are able to ace the UTME examination. Now, why are these topics very important? The reason why you need to study these topics are because, number one, you would notice that Jamb usually repeat questions. So Jamb questions are usually repeated questions. There are no new questions anyway. So if the questions are usually repeated, then that means there are specific topics that are usually more prevalent in the examination. Another reason why you need to study these topics I'm about to tell you is because these topics actually cover up to 60% of the chemistry Jamb syllabus. So which means with these topics, you are guaranteed of scoring very high in the chemistry Jamb examination. And the third reason why you need to study these 10 topics are because they are topics that are found to be calculation friendly and theory based. So they are easy to comprehend and you can easily get your way through them without any prior knowledge from before, right? So the first topic I'll be talking about is the mole concept and stoichiometry. Now, this topic is very, very, very important. When I talk about the mole concept, talking about the mass to mole conversion, volume to mole conversion, and conversions from one unit of quantity to another, then also ranging to the stoichiometric relationships, percentage yield, limiting reactant. This is a topic that comes out every year in the Jamb chemistry examination. There's no year that they don't ask questions from mole concept and stoichiometry. And one important thing about this topic is that it is a straightforward topic. You don't need a very deep understanding to solve questions on this topic. All you need are the right formulas and the right substitution. And with that, you are able to solve these questions perfectly. So I encourage that you study this topic if you are preparing for the chemistry Jamb examination. Now, the second topic I'll be talking about is acid, bases, and salt. Very common topic and very, very important if you are aiming high for chemistry in the Jamb examination. Now, why is this topic important? It's important because a lot of questions, ranging from the types of acid, the types of base, the reactions that acid and bases undergo, the likes of the pH scale, and other things, efflorescence, hygroscopy, deliquescence. From all these areas, there are usually repeated questions in the Jamb UTME examination. Now, the third topic I'll be talking about is periodic table and periodicity. Very important topic because it is the chemistry of the chemical elements. And this forms a foundation of the knowledge of chemistry. So it is usually very prevalent in the UTME examination, most especially the periodic trends, talking about the atomic radius, the electronegativity, electropositivity, ionization energy, electron affinity. Now, what you need to take note of here is you shouldn't start cramming the trends, but there's a need for you to actually understand why the trend goes like that. So take for example, there's a need for you to know why electron affinity increases across the period and decreases down the group. So to understand these things now, there are elementary stuffs in this topic that you need to understand. Stuffs like how to determine the period and the group of an element, and then how to know the pattern across the period. So across the period now, we have the groups, and then down the group, we have the periods. This concept is usually very confusing, and I usually encourage students to dedicate time to study it in-depthly, because as simple as this topic is, it's very easy to confuse them when you see questions in the UTM examination. So study this topic, understand the trends very well, understand the arrangement of the periodic table and how it affects the various periodic trends, and then lay hands on questions that would help to solidify this knowledge in your brain. Very, very important. Now, the fourth topic I'll be talking about is the gas laws. Very, very, very important. The state of matter, the kinetic theory of matter, then the gas laws is another very important topic that is usually tested frequently in the UTME examination. You know, from Boyle's law to Charles' law to Gay-Lussac's law, Avogadro's law, Graham's law of diffusion, Dalton's law of partial pressure. You have to understand these laws. You know, also take note of the graphical representation for each of these laws. They are very, very important. They come out very frequently in the UTME examination. Then take note of the formulas for each of these laws and how to apply them to solving questions. So it's very important that you study gas law for your upcoming UTME examination. Now, the fifth topic I'll be talking about is electrolysis. This is simply the phenomenon through which aqueous substances decomposes when electricity is going to pass through them. It's a very important concept in chemistry and usually prevalent in the UTME examination questions. You know, questions ranging from the conditions that determine the preferential discharge of ions, that is the nature of electrode used, the position of ion in the electrochemical series, and then the concentration of the electrolytes. It's very important to understand these three conditions and how it affects the various types of electrolysis. You know, common electrolysis like the electrolysis of brine, that's conc NaCl, electrolysis of copper sulfate using copper electrodes, using mercury electrodes. You know, understand how these three conditions that affect the preferential discharge of ions, understand how it applies to specific examples that are usually being tested in the UTME examination. And then this also goes further to studying the Faraday's laws of electrolysis, the first law and the second law, and solve common questions on them, and then also go ahead to understand the various type of electrochemical series that we have. The primary cell, that's the Leclanche, the Daniel cell. Then we have the secondary cells, which are also known as accumulators. It's very important to study all of these concepts as they are very frequent topics that are usually tested in the UTME examination. Now, the sixth topic I'll be talking about is water solutions and solubility. Very, very important topic if you are preparing for the UTME examination, ranging from the municipal treatment of water. You know, this is an aspect that most students ignore. The municipal treatment of water, from the aeration to the sedimentation, the filtration, the chlorination, fluorination, and all of that. All of those sequences now, you have to understand them. You have to understand the concept of water itself, the chemical composition, the physical and chemical properties, then the concept of soft and hard water, that's hardness of water, what causes hardness of water, very, very important, the chemical equations, and also the methods of treating hardness of water. Very, very important aspects that are usually tested in the chemistry Jamb examination. Then that goes further to studying the concept of solution and solubility, the true solution, the colloidal solution, and then the forced solution, which are the suspensions. These are also very important aspects that are usually tested in the UTME examination. Then the concept of solubility, you know, the formula for calculating solubility in mole per dm cube. You solve questions on them. They usually come out very well in the UTME examination. Now, the seventh topic I'll be talking about is energetics and energy changes. That's where we have likes of delta H, delta G, delta T, delta S. That's change in energy, that's enthalpy, change in entropy, change in temperature, then change in Gibbs energy, the Gibbs free energy. Very, very important concept. And of course, this topic also relates directly with the concept of chemical equilibrium. These are aspects that are usually very well tested in the UTME examination. Another very important aspect of energetics is the various types of enthalpy that we have. That's enthalpy of formation, enthalpy of combustion, enthalpy of neutralization, and the rest, right? You have to take note of the sign for each of them. That is based on whether those enthalpy changes are usually exothermic or endothermic, or can be either of the two. So you have to take note. The exothermic ones would obviously be negative. They are usually given off, while the endothermic ones will be positive. And that also leads to exothermic and endothermic reaction, understanding the concept of the collision theory, how reactions occur, then how the activation energy determines the rate of reaction, and how the activation energy can be controlled. All of that are very important concepts in the chemistry Jamb UTME. Now, the eighth topic I'll be talking about is qualitative analysis, also known as experimental analysis. This is where we test for salts and test for chemical substances, test for gases, test for cation, test for anion, test for food substances, test for organic compounds, confirmatory test for certain compounds. We also have the flame test. Yeah, flame test, very, very important. The golden yellow color, the brick red color. For the flame test now, confirming various ions. These are also very important concepts that you must study for the UTME examination. In these aspects now, you just have to memorize those tests. The tests, the observation, and the inference, just like you did in your chemistry practical in WAEC. These aspects are usually very much tested in the chemistry Jamb examination. Another important aspect of qualitative analysis is the concept of solubility of compounds in water. We'll talk about the solubility of various compounds. You have to know that take for example, all sodium compounds are usually soluble in water. All chloride salts are usually soluble in water. And then we have the triazocarbonate phos that are usually insoluble in water, except Na2CO3, K2CO3, and NH42CO3. So all of these concepts you have to understand. You have to be able to identify if a salt or a compound is water soluble or not. And all of this knowledge you would find in the experimental chemistry. Now, the ninth topic I'll be talking about is the IUPAC nomenclature of organic compounds. Very, very important. Organic chemistry itself is a very broad aspect of chemistry. If you can actually study it as a whole, it will be very, very good. But sometimes it takes a lot of time to study the whole concept of organic chemistry, as it is a very huge aspect of chemistry. So it's important to pay more attention, focus more on the IUPAC nomenclature of these organic compounds. How are these organic compounds named? So you can just randomly be given an organic compound in the examination and you'll be asked to name the organic compound, or you can be given a name and you're asked to know the structure, to pick the structure of that compound out of the 4 options given. So it's very, very important to understand the IUPAC nomenclature of organic compounds. Very, very important. Then in addition to that, now you can now go ahead to also understand the various organic reactions that we have, likes of the addition reaction, substitution reaction, likes of elimination reaction, likes of saponification, esterification, common reactions that we have in organic chemistry. Know them and know the definition and how it works, examples, right? Very, very important. And then the last topic number 10, is the chemistry of hydrocarbons. Also a very, very important aspect that you cannot ignore if you are preparing for the chemistry Jamb examination. When I say chemistry of hydrocarbons, I refer to the alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes. Those are the 3 homologous series that are common to the hydrocarbons. You have to understand their general formula, and then you have to understand their chemical and physical properties for the various members, their state of matter, and then you have to also understand the reactions that occur, the laboratory preparation of each of these homologous series, members of each of these homologous series, and precautions that must be taken for each of these preparations. Very, very important concepts. So with that, I've given you 10 important topics, and trust me, if you can focus more on these 10 important topics and actually understand them in-depthly, then you'll be sure to have a 90 plus in the chemistry Jamb examination. So before I end this video, let me just give you a few tips that can also help you in preparing for the chemistry UTME examination. First of all, the first tip I will give is understand the formula and the patterns. Just as we have repeated questions in the UTME examination, we also have repeated patterns. So it's very important to study and understand. For example, if you are taking a topic now, you have to understand what are the repeated patterns for this topic and what are the repeated formulas that are very, very important to know. The repeated patterns and the repeated formulas, very, very important to take note of. And then the second tip I'll give you is solve a lot of past questions. I cannot overemphasize this. Solve a lot of past questions. Like, lay your hands on Jamb past questions. First, from these 10 topics that I've highlighted, study past questions on them in depth. Now, what Jamb question does for you is, number one, it makes you acquainted with how Jamb asks their questions. And then number two, it helps you to assess your knowledge on a given topic. And then number three, it helps you to know the other aspects that you need to focus on, like aspects that you are not yet grounded in and you really need to focus on. So it's very, very important that you lay your hands on past questions, solve as many past questions as you can. You don't have all the time to start reading the whole chemistry syllabus, but with past questions, you're able to fast track your study and focus on areas that really matters. Then lastly, I'll be telling you that you should lock in and grind. This is like the summary of everything that I've been saying since the beginning of this video. There's a need for you to personally lock in and grind. Like, you need to really take time to study in depth, because it's very easy to aim high in the UTME examination, but only few are able to pay the sacrifice that it takes to really meet this aim and this high expectation. So I encourage you, take your time, dedicate the next couple of weeks that you have, study very, very hard, like lock in, take away every form of distraction and grind. Focus on the things that matters, and I wish you best of luck in the UTME examination. So once again, my name is Daniel, and you're welcome to this YouTube channel. Ensure to like this video so that it will help the YouTube algorithm to also recommend it to others that can also benefit from it. Share this video to your loved ones, your colleagues that are also preparing for the UTME examination. And lastly, if you are yet to subscribe to this YouTube channel, do well to click the subscription button and click the notification bell so that you can receive notification when we drop new videos. So this is where we'll be calling it a day for this video, and I wish you the very best of luck till my next video. Take care of yourself. Bye.